There is a moment in every man's life when he is faced with a choice to keep living as the man who waits, or to become the man who moves. One hesitates, hoping the world will give him a sign. The other creates the sign with his very breath, his stride, his belief. If you want to change your life, change how you walk into a room. Because life doesn't give you what you want, it reflects who you are. And right now, the version of you who's waiting, who's doubting, who's watching other people rise. He's not the one who's going to build the life you keep dreaming about. That life demands a different energy, a different identity. It demands that you move, speak, breathe, and decide as if the result is already secured. Live like the outcome is already yours. Not because you're lying to yourself, but because the most powerful force in the world is a made-up mind. Napoleon Hill said it himself, "What the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve." And yet most people stop at the first sign of resistance. They speak belief with their lips, but rehearse fear in their actions. They pray for success, but move like failure is more familiar. Understand this: your life bends to the dominant assumption you live by. If you walk through the world expecting disappointment, chaos, betrayal, you will find it. Not because the world is against you, but because you taught your mind to filter for it. Your thoughts are architects, your beliefs are blueprints, and your actions are the builders. Look at Edison: 10,000 failed attempts, 10,000 rejections from reality. But he didn't quit. Why? Because, in his mind, the light bulb already existed. The world just hadn't caught up yet. His belief wasn't reactive. It was proactive. He lived in alignment with the outcome long before it was visible. That's not fantasy, that's mental leadership. Henry Ford didn't wait for the public to demand an automobile before building one. He moved like the market was already ready. He walked into the unknown like it owed him a future. And it did, because he showed up with certainty. The world moves for the man who moves without hesitation. When you live like the outcome is already yours, you stop negotiating with doubt. You stop entertaining the idea of failure. Not because you're blind, but because you're committed. When your mind is made up, failure becomes irrelevant. Delay becomes part of the design. Setback becomes refinement. Let me ask you something. What if you started acting like it was already happening? What if your goals weren't hopes but assumptions? What if your daily routine mirrored the life you say you want, instead of the one you're trying to escape? That is how transformation begins, not in a moment of motivation, but in a decision of identity. This is not about arrogance. This is about alignment. You don't need proof to start. You are the proof. Your decisions, your energy, your presence. Stop waiting for confidence. Confidence is not a requirement, it's a reward. You earn it every time you show up without it and act anyway. Look at Lincoln. Surrounded by doubt, divided by war, misunderstood by his enemies and even his friends. But he moved forward like the Union was already preserved. He spoke from the future he believed in. He carried the weight of freedom in his eyes long before the chains were broken. That is what it means to live like the outcome is already yours. It means walking through rejection like it's a detour, not a definition. It means showing up early, staying late, working in silence, because you already know where this road leads. It means refusing to shrink to your circumstances, because you know your energy creates new ones. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, it comes from moving with purpose. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You need to take the first step, like the top is already under your feet. That's how Carnegie rose, not with guarantees, but with decisions. He didn't wait to be chosen. He chose himself. And so must you. If you want to live a life of power, start by eliminating the language of permission. Stop saying, "I'll try." Start saying, "I do." Stop saying, "We'll see." Start saying, "Watch me." The universe doesn't answer uncertainty. It responds to intent. Decision is a frequency, and it echoes. You want to attract success. Act like it's looking for you. Walk like your footsteps matter. Build like the world depends on what you're creating, because in some way it does. The future you want doesn't come to the version of you that waits. It comes to the version of you that declares, then demonstrates. You will not rise by repeating what average men do. You will not unlock wealth by hesitating like the hesitant. You will not shape your life through convenience and comfort. You rise by fire. You rise by forging a new self, one thought, one belief, one bold act at a time. Live like the outcome is already yours, and soon it will be. Because identity is not found, it's forged. And the man who dares to believe before he sees, who dares to move before he's validated, that man becomes unstoppable. Do. Oh. And if you want to stay there, if you want to rise and stay risen, you must install discipline like breath. Not just when it's convenient, not when it's easy, not when the mood strikes, but daily, ruthlessly, and with no apology. Because the man who moves with consistency defeats the man who moves with talent. Walt Disney was not the most funded, not the most connected, not the most polished. But he saw castles before they were built. He drew characters before they were alive. He believed in a world that didn't yet exist, and then he built it. That's not luck. That's clarity in motion. That's a man possessed by vision, anchored by action. Stop waiting for others to believe in your idea. They won't not until you've already bled for it. Not until your consistency has forced their respect. That's why your discipline must become your proof. Your commitment must become louder than their doubts. You see, most people never fail because they tried. They fail because they didn't stay. They didn't stay in the fire long enough to be forged. They ran back to comfort at the first sign of friction. But pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is the birthplace of power. So when the voice of fear starts whispering again, you answer louder. Not with noise, but with movement. You answer by doing the next rep, writing the next line, sending the next email, holding the standard even when the spotlight is gone. That's how legacies are built. In the silence, in the shadows, in the boring, repeated greatness of discipline. This is not a moment. This is a lifestyle. And the man who lives like the outcome is already his. He shows up like it. He trains like it. He speaks like it. And soon the world stops doubting, because belief this strong can't be ignored. Third, T. Because the world doesn't bend to your wishes, it bends to your will. And your will is made visible through your habits. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you demand with your execution. The universe doesn't reward desire. It rewards demonstration. Every morning you rise with two options: rehearse the identity of the man you were, or become the one you said you would. And that choice is never made in a shout. It's made in silence, when no one is watching, when the old habits whisper louder than your goals. Live like the outcome is already yours means you don't wait for applause to act excellent. You don't need a finish line to move like a champion. You walk into every room with the energy of completion, not because you've won yet, but because you've decided to. The man who decides fully is feared by failure. He's untouchable to doubt, because his path isn't powered by evidence, it's powered by faith and enforced through repetition. So build, without permission. Move, without proof. Speak, without flinching. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to shift your bloodline, to reset the standard for what's possible in your name. And that requires more than action. It requires embodiment. Not I hope, not I try, but I am. Because when you embody the outcome, it starts to chase you. When your movement matches your mission, you pull the future into the present. So breathe deep, straighten your spine, and walk like the outcome is already yours. Not just because it's powerful, but because it's necessary. And the moment you stop performing and start becoming, everything changes. And when it changes, Don't stop. Because the climb doesn't end at the first peak. Your next level isn't earned by arrival, it's earned by expansion. The moment you break through one ceiling, the next challenge arrives. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to be. So don't relax. Reinforce. Don't pause. Push. Don't drift. Double down. This is not the time to celebrate becoming someone better. This is the time to become someone greater. To not only live like the outcome is yours, but to lead others to do the same. Because once you walk like it's done, you inspire others to believe it can be done. Once you live like the future is written, your presence becomes prophetic. Your energy becomes a permission slip for others to rise. And that, my friend, is when you become more than successful. You become significant. And that is the final level, not building success that ends with you, but legacy that begins with you. So decide today, walk today, speak today, build today like it's already yours. Because in every moment, in every room, in every act of discipline or courage, you're not just proving something to the world, you're proving it to yourself. Live like the outcome is already yours, and watch how fast the world obeys. Afi. But before you leave this message, there is one last threshold to cross. One moment you cannot bypass. It is the point of no return, the decision that separates the man who almost changed his life from the man who did. This is the decision to burn the bridge, to eliminate the option of returning to the old self, the one who hesitated, the one who needed proof, the one who negotiated with fear. That version of you must die today. Because as long as you leave a back door open, you will use it. As long as you leave space for your former self to whisper, he will. And you will call it logic. You will call it balance. You will call it being realistic. But it is none of those things. It is fear in disguise. The greatest transformations in history were not gradual. They were absolute. They came from men who made a decision that no longer allowed hesitation. Rockefeller didn't kind of want success. He decided to become indispensable. Lincoln didn't sort of believe in unity. He declared it with his life. Ford didn't dip his toe in innovation. He committed with both feet, both hands, and every breath. And now it's your turn. This is not a motivational video. This is a line in the sand. Today you decide, are you going back? Or are you going forward so hard, so decisively, that retreat is no longer possible? Say it out loud. I burn the bridge. I commit with fire. I do not flinch. I move with finality. Say it again. Not for me, for the man you're becoming. I burn the bridge. I do not retreat. I live like the outcome is already mine. And from this moment forward, let your actions confirm it. Let your energy prove it. Let your presence announce it before your words ever arrive. Because this right here, this is the decision that transforms your timeline. Not tomorrow, not someday, now.